pre-selection. Okay, very simply, if a guy is promiscuous, right, other women have sexually selected him. And so new women coming into his orbit look at him and think, okay, this guy gets tail elsewhere. There must be something good about him. Therefore, I too am going to be sexual with him, right? Because there's got, women are very much like that. We all are, really. I mean, you know, when there's a massive queue outside the restaurant or the restaurant looks really busy, we kind of want to go into that one. We don't want to go into the one next door when it's absolutely empty and the waiter's just, the waiter and the owner are just sitting there playing cards. Like you intuitively think, well, this one must be better because there's all these people going in there. I mean, I remember in Berlin years ago, there was this barber's quite near to where I was living. There was this Turkish barber's there. And there was always this big queue outside, and there were all these people waiting inside to get their haircuts there and blah, blah, blah. And I was always fascinated with that place. I was like, I need to go there, okay? And the only reason was because there were these queues outside. It made it seem more of a, it's just, wow, this place must be great because there's always these people queuing up. It's exactly the same impulse. It's exactly the same impulse, isn't it? He's had all these other women, therefore, there must be something good about him, therefore, I'm going to give him an opportunity, right? Whereas, if the dude is the 42-year-old virgin, and he doesn't appear to have that access, he doesn't have that pre-selection, okay? And you can imagine pre-selection as like a little tick next to you. She's going to be less likely to give him a chance. It's not impossible, but it's going to be less likely. Interestingly, again, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, okay? And this is the case in dating as it is in anything else, right? The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Those guys who have pre-selection, who are already doing well, off the back of that will do more well, okay? They will attract more women into their world, just naturally, okay? Whereas what you will often find, and we see this in a coaching context as well, the guys who are not getting any action, okay, tends to prolong. You get into a dry spell, and then the dry spell continues for longer, and and blah blah blah, and on it goes. Okay, so it's a sad reality of life. I think that, and we've talked about this before. I think there's a pheromonal side to this, where women can almost smell the conquests on you. It's the classic thing. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but when if you've had sex and then the next day you walk down the street and you've kind of got this spring in your step, you've got this attractiveness around you that you didn't have before, and you'll see women like literally checking you out, responding to you. I mean, this happened to me one time. So one time I was in Budapest, and I had met this woman there, and we'd gone on a date, and we'd gone back to her place, and we'd had sex, and her place was not in the outskirts of the city, but it was in a more residential area in the city, outside of the centre. So we went back there to her apartment, and one thing led to another, etc., etc. We had a very good night. She had a greyhound dog who, while during the act, kept jumping on my back while I was, we were getting on with what we were getting on with, which was a little bit odd, to have a dog sort of on your back while you are in the act of coitus. But, there you go. I suppose you've got to experience everything in life. Anyway, so a good time was had by all. And in the morning, I got up, and she told me how to get the tram back into the centre of town. So I get into the centre of town, and I'm walking down the street, and it was really, really hot, because it gets really hot in Budapest in the summer, and I was kind of looking disheveled. My hair was all over the place, my face was red and puffy, and my shirt's half open like it is now. Just not looking my best or whatever. And I needed a drink, so I walked into this shop, this little store that was selling drinks and things, and I picked up a can of Coke or something. And I go to the counter, and the woman there, and she was an older lady, she was a bit of a MILF, whatever. She was just like, it was crazy. You could see, like, she was all over me like a rash, right? She was just like, I don't know what it was, man. It was nuts. I mean, she's just looking at me. She's like, oh yeah, super, super flirty, giving me this crazy eye contact. I think I got the feeling I could probably, like, have taken her in the back and, you know, got down to business immediately. Do you know what I mean? It was just it was just on. Now, she wasn't my type. I wasn't attracted to her, whatever, but fine. But the point of the story is that once you've been in a sexual situation, you come out of that. It's almost like other women can intuitively sense that on you. Okay? And this is what I mean by the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It's this animal thing, right? It's like he's had sex with her and now I want him. It's really, really nuts how it works. But yeah, you're right. I mean, pre-selection, she can sense, and she probably knows anyway by how you present and your lifestyle, whatever. She can sense that you've had this sexual access elsewhere, and now she wants a piece of the pie, okay? It's very, very powerful. And this is why, by the way, when somebody was talking about Michael Sartain earlier. So Mike Sartain, his whole method, and we can do a show about this actually because it's quite interesting, but his whole raison d'etre is social circle game. And what he will do, he's lived in Vegas for a long time, and he, you know, he knows a bunch of women there and everything else, and he'll turn up to the club with like 10 women, you know, 10 attractive women in bikinis. And that is his sort of method of bringing new women into the scenario, because the other women in the club are like, Jesus Christ, who the hell is this guy? You know, he's made himself into what appears to be a mini celebrity in that club environment because he's surrounded by women, and the other women there are like, shit, this guy, there must be something about this guy because he's got all these women around him, and they don't really know if he slept with these women or if they're just friends or whatever, and maybe even that doesn't matter that much, because clearly, at least these women are happy to be in his company, which is ticking some kind of a box. So that's why he really pushes that method, and that's why obviously that works very well for him, because pre-selection is such a powerful tool, okay? And promiscuous guys obviously have pre-selection, and so women find them attractive. SJ says, I think... Oh, we read that one, yeah. And then Ben says, interesting that you interpreted it that way. I understood RK as mating strategies within species, not specifically female, although quantity strategy... Well, I mean, so people talk about it in the dating space. And I think it's a K-selected... They will talk about K-selected women versus R-selected women. So a K-selected woman... I think I'm getting this the right way around. A K-selected woman is a woman who's kind of more looking for she's more relationship material, and an R-selected woman is more sexual, and she's looking for, you know, she's looking for fun. And it's like, right, you got to look for your K-selected woman if you're looking for a high-quality woman or whatever. That's the bit that I think is bollocks, because I think all women are sexual. I think like, you know, all women at points are sexual and they're looking for short-term fun, and then at other points, and you could link this with the menstrual cycle, but at other points they're looking for stability and they're looking for a partner, and at different points in their life they're looking for these different things as well. You know, when she's young, she might be more promiscuous, she's looking for fun, she's looking for casual, no strings attached. Then perhaps when she gets older, she's looking for the other thing, okay? But to say that there are almost these two groups of women, you know, like, oh, she's one of those, and then she's one of those, that's the bit that I think is bollocks, because it doesn't make any sense, all right? I mean, everybody is biologically designed the same, okay? It's just nonsense, and it's kind of the Madonna whore complex that certain people in the dating space have pseudo-scientifically tried to make into fact, when actually it just doesn't really stand up to any scrutiny. So Ben says, coming from a very different perspective, more like agent-based modeling and game theory. More importantly, Ben, how many approaches have you done this week? Because all of this is very interesting, but if you're not actually approaching, none of it means anything, and we might as well just stop the stream, because in the end, right, and this goes for everybody, in the end, all of this stuff is about taking action. So we can all sit here and we can all wank over all of this stuff, this conversation about RK and not R. Kelly, but RK selection, or we can talk about, you know, the socio-political, psychological reasoning behind why this stuff is happening, and et cetera, and it's all very fascinating. But if you want to change your dating life, you need to actually go out there and talk to some fucking women. Or if you're a woman, you need to go out there and you need to put yourself into spaces where there are high-value men, and you need to subtly make them aware that you are available to talk to, okay? Everything else is meaningless, All right, everything else is meaningless. You can watch 7,000 hours worth of podcasts and it's going to do fuck all for your life. You may as well have watched 7,000 hours of SpongeBob or something, right? It's just chewing gum for the mind. It's just entertainment, unless you actually go out there and do something with it, okay? Very, very important for everybody, all right? This has to be about action in the end. If it's not about action, it's not about anything, right? You know, you may as well be watching fucking, I don't know, The Simpsons, or you might as well be watching old episodes of Dynasty or something like that. It's you know, it's all completely irrelevant unless you're actually doing something with it.